Hockey.com. Hey, it's Oilers Live Tuesdays, a regular 9 p.m. Mountain Time, now streamed live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com or tune in at youtube.ca/heavyhockey. Make sure you subscribe.
Oilers Live Podcast.
Want hockey podcasts? Tough Call Podcast, 99 Forever Podcast, fantasy hockey hacks, and replays of Oilers Live. Available anywhere you get podcasts. Just search for Heavy Hockey Network or go to heavyhockey.com. That's right. We need your help. We need your subscriptions. Make sure you subscribe at www.youtube.ca/heavyhockey.
Oilers Live Podcast. Oilers Live Podcast.
Hey, it's Oilers Live, and we're back for the last half hour. Oilers Live Tuesday nights. Although we are moving to Wednesdays on the drive home, 5 p.m. on Edmonton Sports Talk, which is now available on TuneIn. And, of course, you can always find us here at youtube.ca/heavyhockey. And if you want to be involved in the chat, that's the place to be. We'll do our best to interact with you as you're there. Lots of folks watching tonight. So make sure you come check us out there. And while you're there, why don't you give us a subscribe? Like and subscribe, I guess that's what we need, right? So this last half hour, last 20, 25 minutes, we'll talk a little bit about the game upcoming against Dallas, where the Oilers go from here. You know, we talked a little bit about the last game and how excited should we be. So we'll talk about that. What we'll expect to see. Dallas going into this game is 5-1-1. They've had a pretty good start. Of course, that's not unexpected, right? I mean, I would have actually taken Dallas over the Avalanche. The Avalanche have had a couple of bad games of late, right?
If you prior to the season, if you would have, I should say you, if I would have been asked to list my, top four in the conference, you put them in any order you want, but it would have been, Edmonton, Vegas, Colorado, and Dallas, and I thought there would be a dropout. That would be the first tier. So they're expected to be 5-1-1, and that's where they are. It's just a balanced. It's the opposite of the Oilers, pretty much. It's, I haven't watched them too much this year, but I think they have a bunch of people at, 0.8 to 1 points per game, and they roll out four lines, and they have a superstar defenseman that one of the top five in the world, which helps, and a superstar goalie. But for the Oilers, it doesn't matter if you have a superstar goalie. No-name goalies often play like superstars, and we often light up the UC Saroses and the Jake Ottingers of the world. So, if he's playing, I think they're on a back-to-back, so I'm not sure what they're planning on doing.
They're on a back-to-back. The challenge, of course, being is that the first part to the back-to-back is Calgary.
Okay, yeah.
So, it could be, maybe the bad habits form after the Calgary game, and they come in expecting to make some easy passes.
Well, who was it? It was the Rangers gave us the backup goalie and gave Calgary Shesterkin, didn't they? So didn't work out very well. We got Jonathan Quick.
No, well, and that's just that's the way it happens. It seems backup goalies come in and look at Aiden Hill.
Exactly. So you know what? It's we're gonna find out what we're likely to find out what did Saturday mean, because that's gonna be a tough game against Dallas. It's a home game. The crowd should be energized coming off the win. Obviously, they'll be fully rested with 3 full days off. So all those bumps and bruises that Kane's got and whatever's Aileen McDavid's just going to have a bit more time. So there's no excuses. And, this is potentially the start of a run, because this cushy schedule continues to, like, with cushiness. Like, it's Nashville after that.
Yeah.
And then I think Vancouver, who's actually quite good these days. But,
Well, and Nashville actually has been playing well as of late, too.
yeah. Yeah, but Nashville's that team for the Oilers these days. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We could
but
use that.
but like they got to build on the momentum from the Heritage Classic. And I know it was just Calgary, and that means a lot. But if they go and crap the bed against Dallas, or revert to making neutral zone turnovers and giving up rush goals just like it was before, all that mojo's gone. But if they go and they whether they squeak out a win, or dom probably not going to dominate, or but have a solid performance and win the game, that's going to be good vibes. And heading into a schedule with no backs coming up, some middling teams, some good teams, but some middling teams, if they have a chance to pull back into it, because they need to go on a run. I'm not saying they need to win 6 or 7 in a row, but they have to win. They have to go like 7-2-1 in a 10 game.
Well, they have to be over 500 at a minimum, right?
Well,
I mean, they
have to be over 500. They put this crappy start has put them behind the 8 ball. Like, they need to, like, if you had a decent start, that leaves you the ability to have some 500. But they need to play some 700 hockey over a 10-game stretch, just to get back into like a solid playoff. It's like they're not even close right now. This is one win. We talk about how bad Calgary looked and how bad they are. I think we have the same record.
We do.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, the vibes are different, but the vibes are only different because of one game. The vibes were not good 48 hours ago. Remember that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Calgary's a half game back if you go by baseball parlance.
Sure.
And but I think, right, like, the Oilers need something good to happen. And I know we keep talking about, well, it's early in the season. It's not going to be early for much longer.
Yep.
And you might be right. Maybe they need to put a 700 record. They need to put something together. At least a little string of wins, and at least look better, right? Defensively, at the very least, they need to look better. Who would you put in net in Dallas?
I think it's got to be Campbell, and just like, with all these days off in between games, Skinner played 2 in a row, and to tell you the truth, like, he was good against Calgary, and he was actually very good against the Rangers, but he wasn't lights out. And I can't really fault Skinner on the second goal, but that was a pretty juicy rebound. Like, it didn't have to go like that. So, but more than anything, Jack's played okay. Better than last year. Okay is, the numbers aren't great, but he's played okay, but you just don't want him sitting for too long. Like, if he doesn't play that game, and then they have 2 more days off, what's it going to be? Close to 10, 12 days since he's got to start. So, it's tough to say. I have no idea what's happening with the goaltenders from one day to the next, because neither of them have been terrible. Neither of them have been very good.
The goaltending is similar to the story of the season, which is, 85% good, and then 15% just dumb mistakes. Right? Like, you can if it's that one, you need to make that one save that matters, and right now the goaltending hasn't done that, but neither is the team. So I'm not gonna blame either. I mean, but they're if you got the goaltenders making one mistake to let in one, you got the defense making one mistake to let in one, you've got the offense, making one mistake a game, that's 3 goals, right? And it explains the season right there in a nutshell.
And I don't know if it's as much this year, but from what we saw last year, and I think if Skinner plays like the team plays, if the team has a solid game and Skinner seems to be solid, he's making the saves and maybe a couple big ones. If the team's crappy and they're getting lots of high danger chances, he's gonna let in some goals. Generally, obviously, you steal the odd game, but Campbell, like, it doesn't really matter how the team plays. He's either lights out somewhat, making huge saves, and sometimes he's backwards, or he's just letting in every single medium danger chance. Like, there seems to be more of a up and down. So who are they going to play on? What is it, Thursday? I don't know, and I don't know who the better one is because either goalie could be good or bad. Like, I have no idea what to expect with either goaltender on any given night right now. Nobody showed any consistency of being terrible consistently or being very good consistently. They're both kind of up and down like the team is, and who knows. I'm looking for one of them to get on a bit of a heater, and I think Campbell's actually got a bigger potential for that as far as a high end game. Kind of like the Mike Smith, where when Mike Smith was hot, he was good, but then when he wasn't, he wasn't.
Yeah, when Mike Smith was on, I mean, he was pretty much unbeatable. The good thing, I just looked up, and this is a stat I actually particularly like. I don't know if it means much, but PDO and Lotzi, who's done a couple articles for HeavyHockey.com. In fact, like 80,000 articles last week alone. Talked about this. The Oilers have had bad puck luck.
Oh yeah, right? Big time.
Like even last game, Draisaitl missing a couple of those one-timers. Beautiful pass by McDavid through the slot. That's going to start going in at some point, right? You get a little bit of of a heater, and we just haven't had one, right? So being in the bottom third, for PDO, that says something.
That usually evens up through the course of the year, but in order to even up it, you got to go over the 1,000 for a little bit, and that means your goalie's making a bunch of saves, but you're also getting a little bit of puck luck. Like, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but can you remember the Oilers getting a lucky bounce for a goal before the Desharnais goal? Like, I don't think we had one all year long. Like,
no, and we've had lucky.
That was good, but that was quite the
game.
Lucky bounce on the Desharnais.
Yeah.
Don't see many pucks go off the ice and over the shoulder like that.
The hop, skip, and a jump into the net, and nobody was more surprised than Desharnais too.
Exactly. Maybe Markstrom, but
maybe that's a new shot we'll be seeing more of.
I don't know if that works in many indoor rinks these days. But,
No. That was something else. Does that we haven't talked about that, but we're talking about this Dallas game upcoming. Does the fact that they played an outdoor game, does that affect how you view that game at all? I mean, the ice is obviously a little bit different.
No, I believe that if that game would have been at, I almost said Rexall, but if that game would have been at Rogers or the Saddle Dome here, I think the Oilers would have dominated the same. The Calgary's bad. That's a bad. They don't have any offense. Like,
there was one point where I actually had to check Natural Stat Trick to see if Huberdeau was playing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was non-existent. And at least you saw. Do you remember Lindholm? I don't remember seeing Lindholm.
No, I don't. In fact, to give you some idea of where Kadri fit in, he didn't play when the Flames pulled the goalie. He wasn't the guy that was out there.
Really? I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
I mean, I noticed because I'd already heard the puck doesn't want you comment, which
at least there's only 5 years left of that contract after.
That's right. That's my favorite contract in the league.
Oh, I loved it. It was interesting though. I remember when he was a free agent that season, there was a decent contingent of Oilers fans that wanted to sign him. And I'm like, no, I want the Flames to sign him because he was coming off that. It wasn't just a career year. It was like a Nuge type of career year when it was like 30 points more than his previous career high playing on that stacked Avs team. And he was already in his 30s. I'm like, this guy is going to get the albatross contract, and I hope it's the Flames. And I was very happy the day that they signed it, and so far so good.
Well, I would have been all right, not at the same same contract level,
Yeah,
obviously, and for that term, a
I
couple of
would have taken
years.
another 4.5 for 3 years, sure, but
that's that's exactly it, right? Yeah, I mean, if you get the deal on that one, but yeah, he did well. I don't fault the guy for
no,
taking
good for
as
him.
much
No, you
money
see,
as he he
I actually
possibly
enjoy
can, but
every
yeah,
interview I see with him. He seems like a
no, he's a
well-spoken, good guy.
character.
I don't like him on the ice for various reasons, but he's
Yeah,
played for the Leafs, Avs, and Flames. Like,
yeah.
I can't respect that guy. But
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Okay. So we figure Campbell and net. I think everybody in the chat agrees,
oh, do they?
and it's probably. I think it's likely. I mean, to your point, there hasn't been a clear goalie to go with either
No.
way. I mean, it's. I think both goalies have been good. Have had their moments.
Who played the Nashville game? That was Campbell. That was
That was
Campbell.
Campbell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because to tell you the truth, I don't think I thought the Oilers almost got outplayed in that game, despite it being 5-6-1. Like, if anybody, it's tough to say the goalie stole a game when it was 5-1. He didn't steal it, but I think he had more of an impact on the game than Skinner did last couple of nights ago. To tell you the truth,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it, neither goalie though has been. They haven't been terrible or exceptional.
yeah.
It's been a real product of the Oilers' defense.
Mhm.
Defense, I thought outside of that, Ekholm,
Yeah,
play, I thought
pretty
they
solid.
played pretty solid
Yeah,
during the Calgary
and
game.
but I think it started, as we talked about near the beginning, with was there a change in the structure or whatnot, and I'm not sure either one of us actually know the answer to that. I just think it started with more, aggressive play in the neutral zone and backtracking when the Flames got the puck, as opposed to any defensive zone. Like that, it all kind of goes together. The 5-man unit that we used to talk about when Jay first got, the head coaching job, that seemed to be lost, at least for the first 6 games of the year.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like when I think about upcoming games, of course my focus is mainly on the Oilers, but it's so hard to think about what Woodcroft is going to do game to game until you know the line combinations from practice, either the day before, or the day of. Um, but what's your thought on this? I mean, we got Gagner coming up. Do we see a lot more of the same? Draisaitl, McDavid, and Fogle. Do you think he keeps that Kane, Nuge, and Hyman line together
Well,
after the
I
success
think
they had?
like the issue, and well, I've named a few of my personal pet peeves when he plays McDavid and Dry together. But one of the primary issues over the years is, can they find a second line centered by Nuge that gives them something? They had that last game, so I don't see them going away from it, even though I would like to. But I think it was a win. It was a fairly dominating 5-on-5 performance, and I'm not sure that they're going to have 12 forwards again. Like, I think they might only have 11, with Jan Mark's arm in a sling the other day, and he wasn't at practice today. Um, so I think they'll probably roll a similar lineup, and just might even just slide Gagne in for Ernie, but they might use him up the lineup a bit. Like, if somebody's not going, it's tough to say. Like, I just don't know how Gagne fits in. I don't see him fitting in with Derek Ryan and having a top 9 guy float through that line. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered that. I mean, I thought about the benefit that Gagne might bring to a couple guys like Holloway and McLeod. We
Yeah,
talked about that earlier, but then what do you do with Connor Brown,
yeah,
right? I
exactly.
mean, you can't. Well, I mean, you can, but I just don't see how you could place him on the fourth line. And I think as I was saying earlier, I think he's progressively got
He,
better,
yeah,
right? Like, yeah,
and he needs to play, and he needs to play in the top 9 to continue to. He needs the ice time to get the comfort level, to continue to get the timing, and I think we're all seeing him, getting better and better. In the last couple, 2 of the last 3 games were his best games, and it's going to take a bit more time, but he's going to pot one here soon enough, and maybe they come in bunches a little bit. It's the monkey off the back, but he's got, as far as like if you want to talk about like the traditional, analytical numbers like the Corsi and the Fenway, like expected goals, I think he's actually near the top of the team in most of those. So the puck's going the right direction. He's not leaking goals against. So, he's just not producing no matter where he plays. So it's something like Fogel's not a long-term fit. Even if they do keep McDavid and Dry together, that's a 2 to 5 game type of thing. And then, whether it's Kane up there, or Hyman up there, or Brown up there, or whoever it might be, it's just, I just, and until they split up McDavid and Dry, there's just not going to be any consistency. It's just going to be a
Yeah.
mixed match because that middle, that second and third line when McDavid and Dry, they're going to have the odd good game, but they're not going to stack good games. So they're going to keep switching things.
Well, and this team doesn't look so deep when you got those two on the same line.
Yep. So I said,
Right? Like
that's exactly
I
it.
get excited when I see the lineup
Mhm.
and they're playing two separate lines. Then I look and I look at this team and I think, "Whoa, this is a deep team."
So
And then
last year,
when you throw them on the same line, I always think, well, we've got two good lines now, but that's it. Like, and it's showing, right? Like, we've got no depth scoring, so that shows.
Yep.
I just don't get it. Like everything you think would happen has happened,
Yep.
right?
And like, Woodcroft talked about today is like, Ernie's, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's the fall guy because the entire bottom six hasn't been able to score. And I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. As I said, Sam Gagner trumps Anna Ernie every day of the week. But is Sam Gagner going to come in and play with Derek Ryan and Matthias Janmark and spark the offense on that line? I don't
Yeah.
see it happening.
Yeah. And and to the point we've been talking about all night is unless they play some minutes, it's just not going to happen either, right?
But I shouldn't say I guarantee. I'm highly confident Gagne is going to play more minutes on Thursday than Adam Ernie has in any game this year.
Yeah. Now Neil Garrity says, and this is a statement that I think we all can agree with, is we need the same top six as last season, but with Brown in there, right?
Yep.
And playing the way we know he can.
And that's what
I
they
think
started
that
with.
was our excitement, wasn't it?
Yep.
Was that our
Yep.
excitement as Oilers fans at the beginning of the season? Yeah.
And that's what we started with, and it lasted like, what was it, 25 minutes into the first game, and
Yeah, it didn't last long.
yeah, and then it's so all that talk, need some time together to gain chemistry, etc., etc. I'm not sure that 25 minutes of game time was enough, but
Yeah, we talked about this in our season preview episode, and we talked about how many points Connor Brown's going to get, and I brought up like it, the way and I knew it because I know the way Woodcroft coaches is. Well, let's see, because the moment it doesn't look like he's performing, Woodcroft doesn't have the patience for that.
yep.
Right? Like you knew that he was going to be thrown down the moment that it looked like something was wrong. It's just there's no building into chemistry on this team. Right.
And I was actually okay with Brown moving there because I never thought he should have been there in the first place.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
But it's not just like you moved Connor Brown down because he was clearly still getting up to speed and wanted a bit fewer minutes and lower leverage minutes. But it's not just he didn't just make that move and move up whoever it would have been, Holloway or Fogle or whoever. It's just everything is just being in a constant blender from game to game to game and from period to period to period and part of it has been the 8-1 was a debacle, but they throw it away and go back to what you started with, and you had all training camp long. But like you didn't do that. The second game started with McDavid and Dry as a combo. I'm like, really?
Yeah. What Neil's also talking about. We need McLeod to wake up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like what's your thoughts on this right now? I mean, here's a guy that we're 8 games in. He's sitting at -3. He's playing. We can't say he's not playing. He's playing 14 minutes a night, which is
He only had eight and change last game though. Like Woody finally, or I shouldn't say finally, Woody clearly decrease his ice time, and that's on merit to me. As I said, when I was trying to find a way to fit Lavoie into the top 9, it's McLeod down to the fourth line as the fourth center, because what has he done? He's created some energy. They played in the opposition zone. He transports the puck and he defends well. Guess what that is? That's a fourth line center if you can't piss a drop. So but we've seen him be better. And I get part of this again is he missed training camp. Maybe he's still, there was zero intel on what it was, but he had that issue last year. He had that high ankle sprain, missed a bunch of time, and he was completely ineffective when he first came back. Kind of similar as he is now. He just skates around, does cardio, and avoids the front of the net and whatnot. But we know he can be better. We know he can. He's never going to be a banger, but we know he can engage. We saw it in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he was one of our best, higher leverage forwards. He should have been out there against Eichel instead of Bukestad.
I've always been a huge McLeod fan, thinking he can play up and down the lineup as needed. But he hasn't shown that this year.
There was some thought of him being a left winger in the top 6 at times last year, but he's. Yeah. I don't know if obviously now the confidence is gone because that happens after you get 0 points in 8 games. But I'm down on him because the things that have been a problem for him since, I'm not a big guy watching junior, but since his OHL days are still a problem for him, where he just doesn't go to the hard areas and just like finish a check sometimes, go to the front of the net, drive the puck. Like it's not part of him, but he's a big guy. He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's over his 205, 207 pounds, something like that. And he just
6'3", yeah.
6'3", exactly. But he's just. Somebody said on one of the podcasts I was listening to, it was a comment, he's terrified of contact, and I wouldn't go that far, but
I thought he was getting better at that. Personally.
He was, but not anymore. Like he's regressed. That's the problem. So.
And it could be. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is like anything else. Oilers fans, it's an injury. We'll default to injury or something. But
and I'm no NHL coach or anything. But like Cat Woody, just like I'm presuming he sees the same things as we do because it's so obvious. Like, look, Ryan, go up there on your first or second shift. I want you to get 1 hit on the forecheck each shift. Go in, finish that check. I'm not saying you got to blow a guy up, but you're fast. You get in on the forecheck. I'm pretty sure you could finish a check on a D-man and maybe it gets him physically engaged. I don't know. It seems pretty. Maybe it's too obvious that it's stupid, but.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. We're down to just a few seconds left. I want to thank you for joining. First time, we'll get you back
for sure.
Next time, maybe Dash will be on. And we can all chat some Oilers hockey. Hopefully there's good news on the horizon. Quickly, we've got about 20 seconds. Thoughts? What's your score for the Dallas-Edmonton game?
Oh God, no idea. So I'm gonna go 4-3 Oilers in overtime.
4-3 Oilers. Okay, next episode of Oilers Live will be next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Until then, have a great night. This is Oilers Live for the Heavy Hockey Network. Have a good night. And Devin, Bruce, and the rest of the fantasy hockey hacks right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Mountain, or tune in at youtube.ca/heavyhockey and make sure you like and subscribe.